Hello, this is Dr. Rina Rani Ray. I'll be discussing on metagenomics today. The traditional microbiology and microbial genome sequencing and genomics rely upon cultivated microbial cultures. So, people used to culture bacteria or microbes in the petri plate or in test tubes for extracting the DNA one by one for each bacterial species. So conventional sequencing begins with the culture of identical cells as a source of DNA. But during searching of different novel compounds, the scientists found different types of bacteria which they cannot culture in the petri plate or in the slant, and they cannot capture them in their flask or in their test tube. So, this is just like an iceberg. 1% microbes that can be cultured, and about 99% of microbial species cannot currently be cultivated. So, it's a big question how to capture them, how to cultivate them, how to know what type of bacteria and what type of microbial populations are there in the environment. So, in 1986, Pace and collaborators proposed for the first time the revolutionary idea of cloning DNA directly from environmental samples to analyze the complexity of natural microbial populations. At that time, authors stressed that although the DNA was originated from a mixed population of microorganisms, the methodology allowed the recovery and subsequent resequencing of individual rRNA genes. Around 10 years later, in 1998, the term metagenome was coined by Dr. Jo Handelsman and her collaborators, Dr. John Cladley and Dr. Robert M. Goodman. They described the importance of soil microorganisms as source for new natural compounds. According to them, a new frontier in science was emerging, the mining for novel chemical compounds from uncultured microorganisms, that means which cannot be captured in the petri plate or in a normal medium, which comprises more than 99% of the microbial diversity. This new concept in microbial science opened the mind of the scientific community with respect to the astonishingly large catalogue of biochemical functions available in nature remaining to be discovered. So, what is metagenomics? It is a study of genetic material recovered directly from environment sample instead of taking it one by one from each single bacterium. Metagenome refers to the idea that a collection of genes sequenced from the environment could be analyzed in way analogous to the study of a single genome. Metagenomics is application of modern genomic techniques to the study of communities of microbial organisms directly in their natural environments, bypassing the need for isolation and lab cultivation of individual species. However, early metagenomic studies revealed that there are probably large groups of microorganisms in many environments that cannot be cultured and thus cannot be sequenced. These early studies focused on 16S ribosomal RNA sequences, which are relatively short, often conserved within a species, and are generally different between species because they are unique in nature. Many 16S rRNA sequences have been found which do not belong to any known cultured species, indicating that there are numerous non-isolated organisms. So the scientists, they found a number of 16S rRNA sequences, but they cannot capture them or they cannot find them in their medium, in their culture medium. These surveys of ribosomal RNA genes taken directly from the environment revealed that cultivation-based methods find less than 1% of the bacterial and archaeal species in a sample. Much of the interest in metagenomics comes from the discoveries that showed that the vast majority of microorganisms had previously gone unnoticed. So they are to be discovered, and the history, it is taken from the International Journal of Genomics 2018. The history reveals that Sanger et al. Developed RNA sequencing in 1977. In 1986, as we have discussed, that Pease et al. Performed at first time the cloning of DNA directly from environmental samples. So a number of bacterial samples are there from where he extracted the DNAs. Smith et al. Generated the first metagenomic library from marine plankton. In 1995, Healy et al. Constructed metagenomic libraries from a gene of interest related environment to mining cellulases. The very next year, Stein et al. Described the first genomic sequences bearing a 16S rRNA gene of an uncultured archaean. After 2 years, Handelsman and collaborators employed the term metagenome. Then, after 2 years in 2K, Randon et al. Introduced the term metagenomic library. In 2004, sequencing of the Sargasso Sea was done by Venter et al. In the next year, the first next-gen sequencing platform was released in 2005. After 5 years, the gut microbiome it was analyzed, and Meta-HIT consortium released the Human Gut Microbial Gene Catalog. In 2016, the MetaSub consortium was created. So from here, we can understand the history of metagenome and metagenomic studies. So there are numerous environmental conditions like salt lake, then marine water, soil, rhizosphere, then glacier, or gut, or oral microbiota, then animal body. There are several different types of environments where different types of microorganisms thrive. And the three main questions for microbial study came, who is there? First one is who is there? What is the relative proportion of community members? That is, whether it's a bacteria or the fungus or the virus or archaea. What are they doing? What functional chemistry is being carried out? What environmental products are consumed? And what is excreted? And how are they doing it? So which type of enzyme pathways are followed? What is pathways activity stratified within the sample? So these are the questions which are to be solved, which are to be answered. So metagenomic approaches, it includes first the extraction of genomic DNA fragments from various environmental samples. It may be soil sample, it may be gut microbiota, gut sample, or marine water. The experimental design, it follows the flow chart. This first is a sampling, then sample fractionation, and from where the DNA could be extracted, then DNA sequencing, then it will be assembly, binning, and annotation. These three are the very important steps of metagenomic studies. Then comes statistical analysis, data storage, data sharing, and they are producing the metadata. So metagenomic approaches, they may be sequence-based or functional-based. Sequence-based approaches, it includes creating sequencing library. The next step is the sequencing of DNA fragments, that is a metagenome. That means a number of genomes are coming here. Then mapping to no resistant genes, if the resistance gene is a target. So mapping to no resistant genes and or identifying the mutations known to cause a resistance. And finally, the determination of resistant potential. If the functional based approaches is followed, then first thing is the cloning fragments into vectors, then transformation into heterogeneous hosts like E. coli to create or construct the metagenomic library, then screening transformants for expression of resistant genes, and finally, the novel or new resistant genes can be found out. Then sequence-based metagenomics, it will be 16S rRNA or DNA sequencing. It includes sampling the DNA extraction, and with the help of PCR and sequencing of the 16S rRNA, phylogenetic analysis can be done, and it is compared with the already known sequence of DNA already present in our record. Now, whole genome sequencing is a whole sampling of DNA extraction, then sequencing, then assembly, And then it will, the gene finding and annotation, that is predict and analyze the genes, and finally compare the genes from the environments. This is the comparison with the already existing gene sequences or DNA sequences already in the record. Now the metagenomic studies face a number of challenges. First one is a large and complex data. As you know, that the environmental samples, they can contain a number of bacteria, number of microorganisms, and so a number of DNA sequences should be present there. So large and complex data have to be analyzed. Then diverse community types may be present. And the third is the challenging genome assembly, the assembling of the genome. That means the fragmentation will be done, and so the assembly will be a very challenging work. So large input data is required, and unwanted host DNA may remain present as artifact, and the metagenomic contaminant could be present over there. So it is just like solving the jigsaw puzzle from a number of bacterial or microbial DNA. So it's really overwhelming by data. And there are maybe so many sequences maybe there, and it is already very confusing and very puzzling. So first one is the assembly, putting sequence fragments of DNA into their correct chromosomal positions. Then binning. Binning is a process of grouping reads and assigning them to operational taxonomic units. And third is annotation. It is a process of marking the genes and other biological features in a DNA sequences. So assembly. So here we can see the genome. It is fragmented in short reads. Then it may be overlapping. These are the contigs, and scaffolding. So scaffold and supercontigs are there. And finally, finishing and gap closing. So to make an assembled genome, all this process should be followed. So just like this jigsaw puzzle. Then binning, attempts to assign every metagenomic sequence to a taxonomic group. Generally, each sequence is either classified into a taxonomic group, like genus or family, the comparison to some referential data, or clustered into groups of sequences that represent taxonomic groups based on shared characteristics like GC content. So binning is the assembly or arrangement of the sequences according to their taxonomic group. First, depending on the method used, binning may provide insight into the presence of novel genomes that are difficult to otherwise identify. Second, it provides insight into the distinct numbers and types of taxa in the community. While many approaches provide a coarse resolution of taxonomy, some are capable of indicating strain level variation, though usually at the expense of fewer binned reads. That means it is very minute or very delicate type of arrangement. Third, binning provides a way of reducing the complexity of the data such that post-binning analysis or assembly can be performed independently on each set of binned reads rather than on the entire population of data. So sequencing, here the genomic or template DNA, the gene-specific primer are incorporated or added, and PCR amplification, then sequencing, and finally the alignment. Genome annotation or DNA annotation is a process of identifying the location of genes and all of the coding regions in a genome and determining what these genes do. Once a genome is sequenced, it needs to be annotated to make sense of it. Genome annotation consists of three main steps. First one is identifying the portion of genome that do not code for, and then identifying the genome on the genome, a process called, and attaching biological information of these elements. Then genome annotation, this is structural annotation and functional annotation. The structural annotation, that the identification of genomic elements, so gene structure, open reading frame, coding region, then location of regulatory motifs. And functional annotation is a function that is a biochemical function, biological function, or some regulatory functions. Then whole metagenome shotgun sequencing, it includes the bacterial genomes present in sample. Now genomes cut into small fragments, then sequencing of many random fragments from pool of fragments, then alignment of DNA sequences with a computer program to create a larger consensus sequence. So these are the DNA sequence, and computer assembled consensus sequences are formed. And more recently, higher volume Sanger sequencing has been replaced by next generation sequencing method, especially for large scale automated genome analysis. So we have to depend upon the computational biology for doing this. However, the Sanger method remains in wide use for smaller scale projects and for validation of next gen results. It still has the advantage over short read sequencing technologies. The massively parallel sequencing technology known as next-gen sequencing or NGS has revolutionized the biological sciences. With its ultra-high throughput, scalability, and speed, NGS enables researchers to perform a wide variety of applications and study biological systems at a level never before possible. So, applications of metagenomics. There are so many applications. Therapeutic compounds, enzymes, for bioremediation, for genome projects, for pathogen monitoring, for disease diagnosis, for agricultural development and biomonitoring. So industrial domain, health sector domain, sustainable resource finding, and for bioeconomy, all these domains are they are very much indebted on this metagenomic studies. So future prospects, the discovery of unknown microbes for novel natural products, new antibiotics, new molecules with new function, new enzymes and bioactive molecules. So through metagenomic study, we can identify or we can isolate or we can detect the microbe which can produce these natural products, new antibiotics, new molecules, new enzymes. And not only that, the diversity of life, the nature of microorganisms present in a sample can be understood. Then interplay between humans and microbes and interaction within microbial community will also be determined. So this is all about the metagenomic and metagenomic analysis.